Live from Victory Park, this is News 8 at 10.
We begin with breaking news. Two gunmen opening fire outside a Muhammad art exhibit in Garland. News 8 there as it happened this evening.
Get back in the building.
A Garland School District officer shot, two suspects killed, nearby businesses shut down as Garland was swarmed by law enforcement. Welcome to News 8 at 10 this Sunday. I'm Jason Wheeler. This is still a very fluid situation tonight. Here's where it has all been going down. This was right outside the Curtis Colwell Center on Naaman Forest Boulevard in Garland, right near a very busy business area, and Naaman Forest High School nearby as well.
A fire truck going through at this point. Now, video from News 8 captured the scenes of that chaos, people inside running to get back inside the center. Obviously, a huge police response that only got larger after this shooting. Ambulances were on scene. Garland PD said they're not looking for anyone else at this point. That officer, again, was Bruce Joyner. He was released from an area hospital. The two suspects were killed. And we had a reporter inside as this occurred, Jobin Paniker, who's been in the middle of this since the shots rang out. Jobin joins us on the phone live. Jobin?
David, it's only been like 5 hours, but it's felt like a 24-hour day. Right now, I'm at a secure location with detectives. The police department asked anyone who heard or saw something to stay back, so that's why I'm here in this secure location with detectives. Now, the photographer and I were outside when shots were fired. We were in the parking lot setting up to get some video. I first heard very faint shots, and seconds later, shots from a high-powered gun. When that happened, officers started yelling at everyone who was outside to get inside. I heard one officer say, "Get down, get down." I heard another officer say, "Get in the effing building."
Come this way. Get back in the building. Shoot that, come around the corner. Hey, hold what you got. Hey, don't let nobody come out of them doors.
They took us from one room to the main event center here at the Curtis Colwell Center. There are about 150 of us evacuated, some media, but mostly people who attended that event. Everybody was on their phones as the news started to circulate. It was a SWAT team leader that told us that an officer was hit, that security officer that you're referring to, David, and two suspects were identified and killed. And they believed at the time that explosives were found. When that news came out, it got really quiet. A couple of people yelled out, "Was it a Muslim?" I saw two women crying, but mostly people on their phones telling family what happened, telling family that they're okay. There was a prayer. People started singing songs like "God Bless America." And this, keep in mind, this is all while we're waiting. We waited for about 2 hours there in that main event center at Curtis Colwell. We would get updates every 30 minutes. At one point, the SWAT team leader told us that we are in a secure location, but that we had to move. We were taken on a bus. I did overhear one officer, as we were all standing around, I did overhear one officer say, and I tweeted this out, he said this was a direct attack. They had this planned. After talking with officers, they say the first couple shots were likely from a handgun from officers, the high-powered shots likely from the SWAT team. We're also hearing, and as David, you said, a security officer is doing okay. That's all we've got from here, Jason.
Coming up here on News 8 Daybreak, we are live in Garland after that shootout at an anti-Islam event. And new this morning, a bomb squad has detonated the suspect vehicle. We have new developments straight ahead.
We're also getting a unique perspective of the situation as it all unfolded. Jobin Paniker, our reporter, joins us live to tell us what it was like as police evacuated him and the crowd there.
We'll take you to somewhere where there's bathrooms and food and water and all that kind of good stuff. All right, but we do need to get y'all away from here.
All right, Jobin here again with Channel 8.
And there you see him, Jobin Paniker there. We saw the situation unfold on Twitter. Jobin was among the group as they were evacuated, assigned to that story. And Jobin joins us now in studio. Went to bed past midnight last night. So we've just learned that there was some chatter on Twitter using the hashtag Texas attack. When you arrived there, you saw the SWAT team was there, Garland police were there. Were they aware of the chatter on Twitter that this was happening, or were they just expecting protests?
I think our only awareness to that was probably seeing the barricades, seeing the officers. Now, we didn't see the SWAT team, but we did see the Garland police officers, and we saw the employees, the security officers for Garland ISD.
And this is some of the video as they began to corral people. And as I understand it, Jobin, from your coverage from inside, they moved them to the center of the Colwell Center. Is that correct?
Yeah, not so much the center, but the one corner of it. We were in the event room first, and then they said this is not a secured facility, so they moved us then into the main event center, which is the large arena at Curtis Colwell.
And how effective were they, as we watched there, how effective were members of the SWAT team and law enforcement in calming those who were left inside, who really were unsure of what was happening outside except gunfire erupting?
So first off, they were giving us updates about every 20-30 minutes. The first update was from a SWAT team leader who said, okay, here's what we've got. We've got 2 suspects who have been killed, and we have an officer who has been hurt. And that's when it started to hit people, and it hit people pretty hard.
And you said that the sentiment was absolute panic, but
it was quiet.
At some point, they started singing. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that video.
Our photographer was outside during the shooting. There you see it as the panic spread. Take a look at this video as officers scramble. Once again, this happened during a Mohammed art exhibit outside the Curtis Colwell Center. And about an hour ago, the bomb squad detonated the suspect's vehicle. Our crews heard 3 explosions in all. They were able to catch one of those explosions on camera. It was several hours before we were allowed close enough to see the damage to the vehicle.
Ron, this is about as close as we can get to the scene. Police are still holding us a ways back, but I want you to take a look behind me. And that car that you said the bomb was detonated inside, you can actually see that car in the background here, an officer in the foreground, and the convention center just in the background of that vehicle. Now, the controversial anti-Islam event that was going on inside last night included a provocative contest for cartoon depictions of the Prophet Muhammad.
Both of them had assault rifles, came around the back of the car and started shooting at the police car.
Get back in the back, go in the building.
2 men from Phoenix suspected of striking fear at the Curtis Colwell Center.
I had no idea it would happen in Garland, Texas.
Now Garland ISD is reviewing a policy that allowed a controversial anti-Islam event to take place.
Live from Victory Park, this is News 8 at 5.
22 hours after a deadly attack in Garland, that crime scene remains active at the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland. The suspect's car still sitting right where it was last night as that shooting started. Good evening. I'm John McKay.
And I'm Cynthia Isaguirre. Thank you for joining us for News 8 at 5. Tonight we have the latest on that police investigation.
Now, you'll also hear from the Garland School District about its decision to allow the event to be held at its facility. We'll explore the history of this controversy, get reaction from the Muslim community, and of course your opinion.
At this hour, we know the identities of both shooters. They traveled directly to Dallas from Phoenix. Elton Simpson was convicted in a terror investigation 5 years ago, but given probation. Nadir Sufi was identified late this afternoon.
Shelley, one needn't look much farther than Simpson's Twitter account to get a sense of his possible source of inspiration. In fact, this is his very last tweet right before the attack. It says, "The bro with me and myself have given bayah, which is an oath of allegiance, to Amirul Mu'mineen. May Allah accept us as mujahideen. Hashtag Texas attack." Simpson's Twitter account is titled "Sharia is Light." Sharia is the Islamic moral code. His Twitter avatar is that of Anwar al-Awlaki, the Islamic militant involved in planning al-Qaeda attacks. Nadir Soufi appears to be somewhat less radical on social media. He doesn't have a Twitter account, but he does have a Facebook page. This is it. This is a picture of him here in a lake setting. We'll scroll down. Actually, this last posting for Facebook for Soufi was October 4th. The next one was an IQ test on September 29th of 2014. Now, this picture looks like it is and could be from somewhere in Arizona, and that's where we go live now to Marie Saavedra, who is in Phoenix. Marie?
Brett, we took a drive through the apartment complex here, and the most we could see at this point was a little bit of police tape. If you know the Phoenix area, this neighborhood is about 20 minutes north of downtown, and this is where the suspects, Simpson and Soufi, called home up until yesterday's attack. It was right around 3 in the morning when FBI agents, along with Phoenix police, started going door to door around the suspect's apartment, evacuating neighbors. Not knowing what they would find here, the Phoenix bomb squad used a robot to break down the apartment door just after 3. No one was found inside. Investigators are not saying what they found, but we do know they spent the day going through evidence there and in a car parked outside, trying to find the root of this shooting, especially since many who knew Simpson are surprised that he could be behind something like this.
Our own Jobin Paniker was covering this event. As it was on lockdown, he was on the inside for hours. He tweeted around midnight, nearly 6 hours after the incident, and I can now leave. Phew. Thank you, Garland PD and SWAT, for swift action. And Jobin will join us live.
So first off, they were giving us updates about every 20, 30 minutes. The first update was from a SWAT team leader who said, okay, here's what we've got. We've got 2 suspects who have been killed, and we have an officer who has been hurt. And that's when it started to hit people, and it hit people pretty hard. The entire time, I can tell you that a lot of the people inside felt safe. They felt like people were, at least according to the people I was talking with, even though they were afraid at first and then scared, for the most part they felt safe. And they felt safe because they were seeing a lot of the security personnel around them and giving them the updates. It's not like they weren't getting any updates. They were getting the updates. We were getting them every 20, 30 minutes. The news wasn't all that fun to hear, but an update nonetheless. That's some of the stuff that was being said at the event yesterday, that we are vulnerable, and we see it right in front of us.
The investigation into all this is just getting started, so stay with News 8 for new details all week long, both on air and online at WFAA.com.
There's no protesters have shown up, and we prepped up for the possibility.
Come this way. Get back in the on the building. Big guy coming around the corner. Big guy coming around the corner. Hey, hold what you got. Hey, don't let nobody come out of them doors. Hey, stop! Stop! Stop!
Evacuating the officer now. Stand by.